Hello and welcome to another episode of Square Up with GraySquare. This week we have the infamous Tim Koontz hanging out with us. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? How's things?
Generally good.
Generally good.
Yeah, right? For those of you guys that don't know Tim, he's the one on Instagram with just a few less followers than me, but he's trying. He's trying to get up there.
That's sad but true.
Neither one of us have anything to brag
it a minute.
about.
Give it a minute.
Neither one of us have anything to brag about, but that's
not at this point.
That's like the competition of the month. But yeah, so Tim is our leader here, our president of the company. As anybody knows that's seen this or listened to this a couple of times, we have a handful of, I think, good business topics to go through, which should be pretty engaging. I'm excited about all of them because we don't really get to talk through stuff like this, and I think this will be a good format for it. We also have a couple of general nonsense topics that we'll see which ones are more entertaining. So let's start off with the most recent event here, the Super Bowl. Did you watch it? Where were you? What was going on? Were you in South America for this?
No, I did watch the Super Bowl. I was in the beautiful beaches hanging out in Detroit, Michigan.
The lovely up-and-coming Detroit.
Right. But yeah, I watched it. I watched the whole thing.
Was it like at a bar, like at a party, or?
I was a bum. I was at a hotel, so I got off the plane. And I even watched the stuff leading up to the Super Bowl. I don't know why I was into it, but I was sitting there. I was like,
this is gonna be
laptop
such a good game.
Sitting on hotel bed, and then watching like the pre-game stuff or whatever. Yeah, thinking the same thing. You have like the most high-powered offense in the history of the. I think it was I think the Rams set a bunch of records and stuff, the whole 9 yards. But either way, you had like super offense, and you had Tom Brady. I'm like, you'll probably score 300 points here. So I watched the whole thing, waiting for those 300 points to come.
And they never came.
It never happened.
They never came. I bailed at the latest halfway through the fourth quarter.
So I'm guessing, Landon, based on 700 prior conversations, that you were not rooting for the New England Patriots.
I absolutely was not rooting for the New England Patriots. And I watched this game from Boston. I was at a party in Boston, and, of course everybody was Patriots fans, but even they were disengaged at the end of the fourth quarter. I had to be notified that it was over. Like somebody was like, "Oh, hey guys, turns out the game's over."
And we won.
And we won the Super Bowl.
By the way.
Yeah.
I'm on the other side here, Len. I was rooting for Tom Brady. As you know, as most of the people here don't know, but anyone that's awesome at something, I do root for them. I'm not a hater. No. I was a Peyton Manning fan. I'm a Tom Brady fan.
We can all support Peyton Manning. He won us a national championship at University of Tennessee in 1998, as everyone knows.
We don't even know if that's a real state yet. But I'm also I like LeBron James. So I like the guys that kick ass. I like Tiger Woods. All those guys. So for me, I thought it was cool to see, even though the game was super boring, I thought it was kind of cool to see somebody win 6 Super Bowls. And to me, on the cheater side of it,
that's where I'm going.
Well, of course, I know. On the cheater side of it, to me, is, in my opinion, if the NFL let him get away with it, he has 6 Super Bowls. I feel completely convinced that if we were to give the Tennessee Titans the choice of 6 Super Bowls with hated opposing fans, or 0 Super Bowls with loving and adoring fans, I think the organization probably take the 6 Super Bowls.
Maybe. No, I don't think so in Tennessee. I think we're a good, honest, fair people in the great state of Tennessee, and I don't think that sort of...
That's just jealousy. I'm a Steelers fan by nature. That's my actual team, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Go Steelers. Sure. And if we could pull in 6 more Super Bowls and bend some rules,
I feel like
the NFL let us get away with it. Yeah, thanks, Roger Goodell.
I feel like the people of Pittsburgh sleep well at night knowing that they came by it honest. Is that true or not true?
That's
scandal free.
That's true.
I'm so offended by the cheating as a hater or whatever you want to call it. Like, people are like, he's the greatest. I'm like, he may as well never have thrown a single complete pass. That's just statistics in my head.
So what about
why is any of this relevant? Like, why is he allowed to play? I'm a conspiracy theorist. I think it's fixed.
I think it's just jealousy. What about the commercials?
Those are pretty good.
Everyone always talks about Super Bowl commercials. We're in marketing.
Sure.
Any favorites?
What was the one with Cardi B in it? I always love her. I love her as, like, I don't know if this was in the commercial. I think was she in the Amazon one?
Coca-Cola.
What did she do in the Coca-Cola one?
I don't know.
I'm just a fan of hers because of, like, she's making all these all these political statements, and it's like from her perspective and point of view. But you listen to it and you're like, yeah, she's right.
I liked the Alexa commercial, like the faulty Amazon Alexa commercials.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, like the dog orders 4,000 pounds of dog food, and like the guy like brushing his teeth with an Alexa, where he can't listen to the radio anymore because the toothbrush is in his mouth. I thought that one was kind of witty. I liked the NFL commercials too.
Which ones were those?
They were like the nostalgia commercials. You know, like there's an NFL
with,
commercials.
At the dinner party.
Yeah, they were at the dinner party.
Yeah.
All these great NFL greats were there. You know, playing like football, kind of talking trash a little bit.
Right.
I thought that one was pretty cool.
That one was good.
You remember the Google commercial from, or maybe it was Gmail or something like that. I think it was Google from maybe 1 or 2 Super Bowls ago. It was like a minute long, basically saying why Google is awesome. It's not just a search engine.
Sure.
And eventually ended up with, like, you know, it started out somebody was Googling something to end up falling in love through a period of time.
Paris, and they were speaking
like
French.
Yeah,
it was just like the back and forth in the search.
I thought that one was awesome. I thought the Amazon one. I thought it made them look, you know, from a marketing perspective, it was like it made them look vulnerable, even though they're the biggest company in the world. It kind of. I have this.
I vividly remember the Google one. I certainly didn't tear up, if that's what you're getting at. Not at all. Not a chance. I just didn't.
Yeah, we'll let you slide. We'll let it go. But,
no, what were you saying?
I'm always a commercial fan.
You know, my favorite.
I like watching them.
My favorite one. I remembered it now because I cheated and I looked it up. The Michael Bublé commercial.
Oh yeah, with like the bubbly soda or whatever, and they keep talking about it.
Yeah.
What is it?
No, where he like.
Hold on, Catalina's showing me something here. So, these guys spent $5.2 million
for like 30 seconds.
For 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I heard it was going to be more than 5. It had dipped a lot in a couple of years until, you know, recently. Yeah, recently the Super Bowl commercials started getting more expensive again, but.
Yeah.
They like 5 years ago, you could steal one for, you know, $2.6 million.
Oh, sure, everybody was doing it. I had a couple out.
Yeah, I had a couple.
Just, you know, empty out the pockets, get a Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, I didn't want to be the only guy without a Super Bowl commercial. Yeah, so I ponied up to $2.6 million. What about that halftime show?
I feel like the halftime show fit very well with the tone of the game.
You mean it sucked?
Yeah, it was so boring. It was so boring. And I remember, I actually called this. I was like, I saw, what's the guy's name from Maroon 5? Is it Adam
Levine?
Adam Levine, right? He comes out there on stage, and he's got like 13 top layers of clothing on. I was like, he's as the thing goes on, he's coming out of these for sure. And it just got more and more ridiculous. And I love the fact that he was like the image of him as a poor dancer, which I'm not. I can't dance myself, so I'm you know, from one bad dancer to the next. Him standing and trying to like move around next to B.O.B. in Atlanta, like on stage, you know, from Outkast.
Yeah, sure.
Hilarious. Like he looked tired. Did you not think he looked tired? Like he was singing, it's like he needs a nap.
I didn't think it was that all. It was bad. Yeah, it was bad. All right, fair enough. I'm not a Maroon 5 fan personally, which is odd because in Colombia, which I travel to frequently, That's one of the only American bands that they know because they're so popular.
Wait, really?
He's on TV all the time. So even like hardcore, like gang members, listen to Maroon 5 in Colombia because it's like one of the American bands that they know really well. So Julian and the boys, of course, they didn't watch the Super Bowl except for maybe 2 minutes of it.
Yeah,
because they have to represent the American side of the family, but they definitely watched Maroon 5, and they thought it was awesome.
Their hometown hero.
They thought it was awesome. I was not convinced. Not convinced.
I didn't think it was that good.
They need to bring back Bruno. Bruno Mars rocked it like 2 straight years or something like that.
The man puts on a show.
He did amazing. Same thing like Bruce Springsteen was like 10 years ago. We had to go in 10 years to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Bruce Springsteen. We get half naked Adam Levine.
Did you see the picture of him next to like a Chipotle bag or whatever?
No.
So like you know,
but Adam Levine or Bruce Springsteen?
No, Bruce Springsteen. Like, Bruce Springsteen's tatted from head to toe, and they have him next to a Chipotle bag. No, his tattoos looked like.
They were all spread out.
They were all spread.
It was like weird stuff.
It looked like they set down the sheet of like which of these tattoos do you want, and he just like kind of put the sheet on, and that was like his getup.
He's like, just do them all, man.
And just kind of scatter them out. None of this means anything at all.
He has like an elephant right underneath of California or something, doesn't he? Like he's got weird stuff.
That's to represent the many elephants in California. And he had the California tattoo, like the Tupac Thug Life tattoo. I was like, this is bad. I was like, this is bad.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Maybe. I'm hoping for Pearl Jam 2020.
Maybe.
Probably not gonna happen.
Probably not. Maybe one of these days. Probably not.
You pick a fight.
It's just gonna be.
You pick a fight
like
with Ticketmaster and take them the whole way to the Supreme Court. You're probably not getting us.
You're probably not letting you.
This is my theory.
This could go either way.
I have no idea, but
oh man, yeah, I was just not impressed. And like, I don't know, to be in Boston and be with a group of people from Boston and no one cared about any of it. I was so excited because last year, obviously we were in Philly when the Eagles won Go Birds. And I was like, I'm going to be in Boston, even though I'm the most open Patriots hater, this side of the Mississippi. I'm like, this is going to be a party. Everybody's going to want to go out.
All the Boston people,
I'm going to have to skip work tomorrow.
I was up there when the Red Sox won the World Series this year. And all the Boston people, I said the same thing. I was like, you guys are just not, this isn't that big of a deal. They're like, well, it's not that big of a deal for us. I'm like, all right, touche. I get you win everything all the time. And us lonely Philadelphia sports fans just scraping by one championship in the last 600 years. And what do you?
I'll tell you the latest bandwagon I'm on is so Tennessee men's basketball is
number one in the country right now.
Number one right now, and I'm just like jersey shopping. I'm ready to jump on this bandwagon. I'm already there. Like I never went to a single. I never supported University of Tennessee. I never watched any of the games except
Peyton.
None of them except Peyton Manning when I was 11. I probably was that old when they won, but. I'm just like, man, if we can finally win something out of that state. It's been since 1998. We're 20 years plus since we won a championship at anything. Other than the Little League World Series. We won that, I think 5 years ago.
I think that's a state honor.
It's so few and far between. It is a state of the whole state. We all take credit.
All right, fair enough.
And it's so few and far between that I remember when we won the Little League World Series. I know. So whack. But
good luck with
one of
that
these days. Anyways. Let's jump on one of these other topics. So
let's do it.
This is an interesting one. So I was kind of going through, just kind of thinking about what I wanted to talk to you about. And I think something that a lot of people struggle with, and I've seen fail many times, it's rare that it's successful. When it is, I think it works pretty well, is starting businesses with your friends. It's something that sounds awesome in theory, but if you do research on it, I think most research would say, probably don't do that. Because there's a lot of stuff that goes in the way. However, I think we managed to pull it off half decent. So I guess the question to kind of start the conversation is best practices. Like what are the barriers? What do you like? If I'm like the entrepreneur and I'm sitting around a bar with my buddies and we're like, man, let's go into let's go start something, right?
Sure.
What do we look out for? What do we do? How do we go about this from your experience?
So it's funny. This I like to read, and I get a lot of time on like planes where I can.
Sure.
In this month's Entrepreneur magazine, which is one of the magazines I'm subscribed to, they literally had this topic, and
really
it was friends and family.
Sure.
And they didn't really pick a side. They didn't say good, bad, whatever.
Yeah.
I think to be honest, I think it's kind of skewed. You know, a lot of times like, oh well, if you start a business with your friends, 97% of the time it's going to fail. But 97% of all businesses fail. Sure. So like.
Sure.
I think, to me, it comes down to somebody's ability to like compartmentalize emotion.
Sure.
You know, like they say, like business shouldn't involve emotion. You know, it should be about making the best decision, regardless of the emotional attachment of it. I think if that's something that's weak in a relationship, or a weakness in that person, then they're probably going to struggle with it if they were to try and do it. So like, if I can't separate,
if you can't flip the switch,
the emotion, like if I have a friend and they make a bad decision, or vice versa, and we can't confront each other from a business perspective, we'll never be able to be in business together or successfully.
Sure.
But I think the flip side is that if you can create that, I think one of the nice things with friends, family in your workforce, so to say, is that you do have a different level of trust. You don't have to build trust. Like you're kind of coming into it with the trust, which, I think that would be a huge X factor in making a big business, is being able to have a core group of people that you can actually rely on and trust basically 100%. So I think that would be the advantage. The pro would be you're gaining trust points, you're gaining, like the commitment level, you're gaining, I think, the freedom and flexibility of communication.
Sure.
You don't have to learn how to talk to each other. You also don't have to worry, like, oh, did he say that? Like, what did he mean by saying this?
So and so.
Yeah,
right?
like, was he coming? Was he attacking me? Was she coming after me, or was it more just?
You kind of already know.
Yeah, you already know that if it's a friend. I think the flip side, though, is that if you can't turn that emotion off, now you're going to make bad decisions, which the bad decisions is what kills the business. Sure. It's not the friend.
Sure.
This is my opinion. My opinion, like that, it has nothing to do with the friendship. It's if the bad decision making sticks, now the business dies. And if I can't say, Landon, what the hell,
right,
or vice versa, we're dead. We're dead. So that would definitely be the drawback. And I think it's hard. I think people have to be honest with themselves.
Right.
You got to be honest with yourself. Like, if this person does something that I need to have a hard conversation,
right?
Can I have the hard conversation? And if not, like, I don't know. To me, it's we've been pissed off at each other before about personal stuff.
Sure.
And it didn't just turn into nothing.
Right.
It was talked about.
You kind of work through it,
and you figure it out, which means like, okay, we can have those tough conversations. We can turn it on and turn it off, and you respect the role.
Yeah.
Outside of the personal relationship, but I think it's killer if you can start a business with your friends or family. Personally,
sure.
I think it's terrific. I have a buddy that's like, there's two things you never teach your wife. You never teach your wife how to golf, and you never teach your wife how to do your business. Like you never bring your wife into your business and your golf game.
Sure.
But I think it's the same thing.
Sure.
There's plenty of awesome businesses in the world as well that are husband-wife teams,
sure.
Partner teams,
sure.
Father-son, mother-daughter, two sisters, whatever. And same thing. They have an ease of communication. There's a flow there. There's a trust. There's a rapport. And it's fun. it's fun having a business with somebody you actually like.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to somebody you put up with for sake of capitalistic purposes.
Right.
You know. But yeah, like if I were too emotionally attached, I would choose to not.
Yeah.
To not go into business with friends because it will definitely fail.
Yeah.
But I don't think the friends is the problem. I think the emotion's the problem.
Right. I think another thing too is you really have to both be like the business has to be more important. Like the business has to be the focus. Like you have to be so aligned on the end goal where it's like we're willing to go through X, Y, and Z because the end goal is so important. The corporation is always more important than the people in it.
Yeah.
You know, and like if you're a loser, you got to go. If you're in the way, you got to go. Right.
Sure.
Same thing back and forth.
Sure.
I think another thing that people miss is like an actual assessment of skills. I think a lot of people get into business together and they think it would be cool to start a business with my college buddy or my dad or my brother or whatever.
And the goal is the relationship and not the business?
Yeah, that plus are we actually a good complement to each other in terms of our skills?
Yeah.
Like do we have skills that would equal us running a successful business? Do you have skills that I don't have? Like, do these things fit well together? I think people miss that a lot because, like, I see, you know, I don't know, like my favorite example of like the collapse of something like this is one of your favorite shows, Bar Rescue. I feel like the biggest like meltdowns in businesses that don't work are these like restaurants where the whole family's there and it's just a full on meltdown. And I think a lot of it is like, well, you know, cousin Susie's lazy, but we don't really do anything about it because she's cousin Susie. What are you going to do? And now the business is collapsing because there wasn't an actual assessment of skills. Like, is this person a good fit for what we have going on, or is this just convenient, right?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I'm sitting here trying to look up who did this. There's this quote. I forget who it is, but it's like, if both parties agree, one is not necessary.
Oh yeah,
is that Carnegie? Is that in How to Win Friends and Influence People? I don't know. But
I think where you heard it is I used to say it nonstop, and I heard it in business school.
Oh yeah, it's like if both parties agree, one is not necessary.
Right.
Like
right.
I agree. Like, if there's no value being added, if you think, dude, this guy and this girl and I get along so well, of course, and like we're the same person,
right?
So of course it'd be a good, like, that's probably the worst fit. What's the point?
You are exactly like. Why are we paying two of us?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. What's the point? Like, I think the best ideas that you're going to come up with to actually make a legitimate business comes from the conflict, so to say. It comes from the differing of opinions. Is like, I think my general take is that, like, no one's ever right. No one's ever correct. No one's idea is ever perfect.
Right.
So, like, if I have a great idea, maybe only 10% of it is any good, which is fine. I could build an entire business off of this good idea, but I'm still missing 90%, and the conflict is going to help me identify the 90%. Same thing, like, there's usually, they say there's, more than one way to skin a cat. Like, that's fine. We just got to figure out one that makes the most sense to have it happen.
Sure.
The biggest and best and quickest and most efficient and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I agree. A lot of times it's like, we get along so well and we're such good friends, we should start a business. As opposed to, like, here's a business idea and you would be perfect to help me or vice versa to pull it off.
Yeah.
Because of you're this way and I'm this way, and this business needs both of those pieces.
Right.
And who better to do it with than
somebody
each other?
I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that makes total sense, because you're right. Like, if you got husband and wife and both of them are like type A personalities, what's the point?
Sure.
Of course, there's just going to be fighting, and you're missing the compassion. You're missing the sympathy and empathy, and that side of the house. Like, I think in any business you got to have like the type A, like, bulldog guy, but then you also need somebody like restraining. You need somebody that's more logical, somebody that's more emotional, somebody that's more whatever. And like, a lot of times, like, I see what you're saying. That makes total sense. If you were in a situation where it's like, hey, we're really good friends, so we should.
Right.
That's probably dumb. It's probably more like, hey, we match well for this project.
I forget who I've told that. I feel like I've told a lot of people this. Like it's you don't have to work with everybody. It's okay to have a drinking buddy. You know?
Hell yeah.
Like I know a lot of people that kind of bring their inner circle into what they have going on. It's like, maybe somebody's just a good drinking buddy.
Yeah.
You don't have to you don't have to get into to financial bed together, I feel like I could go on that one for a good bit. That's solid. I appreciate you going through that with me. The next topic here I found pretty interesting. So I want to talk about prioritizing opportunities. So how do I want to address this? So I was thinking of this the other day because I had somebody on our Boston team asking me like, what's the future like? What are you guys working on? Blah, blah, blah. And in my head, I'm like, man, I started going through all these like potential opportunities of all these different clients and projects and ideas and markets and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, there's like 5 what I would consider $1 billion ideas that are just absolute Hail Marys. But if one of them works, we all get yachts and things are pretty sweet, right?
Right.
So it's like, and I think a lot of people, especially in the startup community, you start a business because you think what you have going on or something you can run into ends with we all get yachts. How do you prioritize? I'm
pretty sure that's in Dale Carnegie as well.
It's in Dale Carnegie. It's like it's all about we all get yachts. That was the chapter. How to win friends and influence people. And chapter 8. Convince everybody that if you listen to me,
we all get yachts.
We all get yachts.
Yeah.
So like, how do you prioritize? And I know, like I asked you earlier, I was like, how many quote unquote $1 billion ideas have you had in front of you in the last like 90 days? You're like, 100. What do you do about all that? Like, how do you know where to give your attention when it's being pulled in a million directions and they all seem pretty cool?
That's an awesome question. I'll be honest with you, man. Like, I think this is one thing that I have to really restrain myself from messing up. And I think I mess it up a good bit, currently. Because I'm the same way. Like, to me, it's like every great idea, I just want to go take them all.
Right.
And trying to restrain yourself from doing it. So, like, this is definitely something I have to really, pay attention to, that I don't get stuck doing. I think, to me, out of my list of 100, kind of my first priority when I have this is to try and figure out which one of them are stupid ideas.
Sure.
To just eliminate the bad ones. Because out of my $100 billion ideas that I think I have, there's probably a good handful of them that aren't that great. So I would say step one...
Probably 99 of them that aren't great.
I would say probably step one would be get some feedback from some more experienced people to eliminate some of this stuff. Because there might be one of them that's just like... I think there's a balancing act between ambition and like stupidity, so to say. There's like the FedEx meeting,
sure,
where the guy submits this idea to be a competitor, of the postal service, and he gets kicked out of business school because they thought the idea was so stupid.
Sure.
And he's like, man, I'm gonna go do it anyhow, and then it ends up with FedEx.
Right.
There's that idea, but then there's also like 1 million people that spent 10 years chasing something that had no shot. And like it's a balancing act, figuring that out.
They need to get in front of Kevin O'Leary. Like, right. This idea is a dog.
Take it out back and shoot it. But I think like if you get people in your life that are more experienced and indifferent, meaning that they're not trying.
They have nothing at stake.
Yeah, they don't have anything at stake.
Right.
You go to them, like, hey, here's a great idea, and they are successful, and they're at the end of the game, so to say. They're not the striving entrepreneur.
Sure.
They already been there, done that, and they're just giving you outside advice. So I would say, I don't know, my initial response when you brought this up even before we were talking,
Yeah.
on this podcast was like, I think the first thing to prioritize is cut out the bad ones. Get some actual feedback on whether the good idea is a good idea or a dog.
I think that's solid. I think I'll add in a next step.
I know that doesn't really go into prioritizing.
No.
But I'd say first priority is get rid of the garbage.
I'll go into the next one. I think the my first reaction here is more revolving around time management. I hadn't thought of get rid of the trash. I think it's a better first step than my first step. But I think I looked at it as going at it from a time management perspective of how much of my free time am I willing to give up for this, or how much of my time am I willing to give up for this? Because I think any entrepreneur knows if you're the person running the show in those first 5 years, you don't get the luxury of a lot of free time.
What you mean the 17 streams of income?
Yeah, right.
Everything doesn't work.
Everything doesn't work. I don't think you get the luxury.
You're not buying the pyramids.
Some of them, not all.
You're missing out, bro.
Yeah, right. I know. Soon enough. We can talk about that one in a second too. I think it's funny. But no, I think the second thing, or first, however you want to put it, when you realize like, all right, this is the one that I want to chase down. I think what a lot of people do, especially entrepreneurs, is they're finicky. Like they have a hard time following through on a certain thing. They just want to bounce around and chase like the next big thing, right? I think the two things to ask yourself is, one, am I super relevant to the day-to-day operations of the business that pays my bills, right? Meaning like, is my company in a position where I have a ton of day-to-day involvement with like full-on operations?
Are you in a position to actually diversify?
Exactly.
For
right.
the good idea.
Right. Can you even spend time?
I agree. When I was listening to you kind of go through this, my initial thought was, well, I would throw in step 1.5 in between what you were saying to just kind of make it easier. And be like, if you have 10 and you eliminate the dogs,
sure,
and you get down to 5, out of the 5, which one do you like the most?
Right.
Like, which one is the coolest? Like, I feel like, I could probably go, make money being a farmer.
At a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, but it's not interesting to me. Like literally, we're in Colombia driving through, like the middle of the rainforest essentially, and they have these like massive like sugar cane fields, and I'm like, man, if you just owned one of these, you'd be a multi-billionaire.
Sure.
And like, I found myself doing exactly what you're saying probably not to do. I was like, man, like, how would I pull this? And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't want to be a sugarcane farmer.
Sure.
Even if I could make $20 billion doing it. Like, if my choices were rich or not rich,
I'm on the sugarcane.
I would go sugarcane farm. But I think there are a million options to rich. So like, my prioritizing, like, in between that step would be, which one do I like the most out of the ones that aren't garbage?
Yeah.
But you should like with what you're saying, I think you're right. You either have to have the time, which comes from infrastructure and organization. You have to have the infrastructure, the organization, and delegation built out that somebody or you or some group of people have the time to pull it off. If not, you got to give up on idea A and just go full force on idea 2. Idea A and 2.
Yeah,
that's entrepreneurial accounting right there.
You guys are learning a lot today. We're taking you to school here.
But they literally, if you're in the bottled water business,
sure,
and you don't have the time to do business number 2, and then somebody comes along with the iPhone business, you got to cut the water business off unless it's just running without you. Which I don't know if that even really happens, man. I don't know if things get to the point where you're just. Really. I don't have to do anything and just collect. Maybe an investor standpoint, but when you're running the business, right. When you are in the business,
I think maybe what I meant is like the transition of I'm forgetting like the 4-part grid or whatever of like employee, small business, then whatever, then investor, whatever.
investor,
you do that, right?
Tackle it.
I think like
Even as a big business, though, the third quadrant,
you have more time.
But you still got stuff to do.
I don't think I meant like full on commitment. I think it's when you can start to dabble. Like I think when you can go from this is an idea that is just out there to like I can start to dabble is when things can move for
half dabbling side project, prioritizing dabbling side project that could become biggest idea in the world.
I think it's like, you know, any entrepreneur starts out with way less resources than they want and need, and that are probably necessary to run the business. So you become, you know, just a workaholic for the business, 24 hours a day, right? And then I think if the first question is, am I still in that phase? Am I still working from the time I wake up until I pass out?
If the business isn't stable, you need to maintain focus.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. But if there's some functionality, if things start to move along, I think then I can ask myself, you know, maybe step 2 is, you know, can I give up my Netflix time for this?
Sure.
Right? Because I think
that ties in as well. Somewhat to, like, what do you like?
Time management. Right.
Which one of these $1 billion ideas is actually interesting?
So you're actually trading it for a little bit of enjoyment.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I would also say, Landon, like, so if we're saying step 1 would be get rid of the bad ideas.
Sure.
Step 2 would be pick the ones that you like. And step 3 was seeing whether you actually have the time to pick whatever you like. But like, I would say after that, you know, like in regards to prioritizing, me personally, I think it depends on. I think it's kind of the same way you look at investing money. How much time do you have left to earn money?
Sure.
So if I'm 65 years old, trying to pursue the next passion, I only got 10 years, 15 years to pursue it, you know, average lifespan wise. So if something's a 40-year process, I'm out.
Right.
Me personally, you know, in my mid-30s, I feel like Superman, like I have 50 years left.
You got all the time in the world.
And hypothetically, I guess I have, 48 years, 34, so I should have 45 years or something like that left if I die at average age. So if I got a project that's going to be like, I like longevity. I like something that we could build huge that takes a little bit of time because I have time on my side right now. Like right now at 34 years old, I have time on my side. So if I were prioritizing ideas, after I figured out which one I actually like, because I don't think you should do it if you don't like it. A side hustle, a new project, the future of your life should be something you actually enjoy.
Right.
You know, but to me, I would say the final prioritizing would be
how far away is the light at the end of the tunnel? Yeah.
It's like me personally, financially.
How long does it take to get the pot of gold?
Yeah, me personally, like financially, I'm very risky with my investments. Not very risky. I'm appropriately risky, but I'm definitely on the between risk and conservative. I'm definitely on the aggressive side because same thing in my head. I'm like, okay, if I spend $1 and then I lose the $1, I have 50 years to get the $1 back.
I can go get another $1. I got time.
You know, yeah, I got 40 years for this investment to pay off. You know, so like if I want to. You know, you know, I'm in the water.
Dude, I was just about to check my water.
So I made this investment in water because I'm convinced the world's going to run out of water, and that somebody's going to profit off of it, right? So I'm up 9.34% is where I'm at, which like an investment at 10%. Is a great financial investment. You know, like playing Wall Street at 10% is great. But with that one, it also, like for about 3 months, I lost all of it down to like, you know, I was way down. You know, where I bought in, I buy in regularly.
Sure.
But where I was buying in, all of a sudden it just plummeted. But in my head, it didn't really bother me that much because I was like, okay, the long term, I still see this. To me, this pays off in 2040.
Right.
It's 2019 right now, so I got 21 years. I don't need a single dollar of this, but one day this is going to be my nest egg, so to say, is this investment. So I think it's the same thing with the prioritizing opportunities. You know, like do I need the money now? Do I need it long term? Do I need it mid term? You know, like for me, I was just in a meeting today. We were working on this energy project for like mid-sized businesses.
Sure.
Right? Why do I like it? Because one of the concerns I want to meet for the business in 2019 is I want to get more short-term cash flow in to better fund certain projects, right? This one meets that goal. So I've given it priority because I like it, but I think it also meets the goal short-term. But is it a 50-year play? Of course, the client thinks it's a 50-year play. They think like, oh, this is going to stick for the next million years, you know, because it's their business. You know, why would they think anything less than this is going to be wildly successful forever? You know, but I don't need it to be because I'm not looking at it from that perspective. So I guess I'll double dip. I'll get a double dose if it ends up being a great idea. But for me right now, it serves the most common thing. So I actually did prioritize that opportunity, you know, as a decent. So I think, I don't know. I didn't think about that before the call type of deal, but I do think the timing. How much time do you need for the opportunity to actually play out if you're right?
Yeah.
If you're 55 years old and this takes 40 years to pull off, you really going to be humping it 70 hours a week as an entrepreneur at 95 years old? To do what it takes for some opportunity? No. You're probably not going to live that long.
No.
So that right there, like, you got to eliminate that idea because you don't have time to. Couldn't even do it if you wanted to.
Right.
Couldn't even do it if you wanted to.
So quick asterisk by one of Tim's comments about a minute ago. If you're one of our clients listening, we're in it for the long haul. You're all beautiful and special, and your projects are equally relevant to all of us. I don't think they listen.
We're not trying to make that quick buck.
No, we are.
But
it is what it is. Oh, dude, so I wanted to ask you, right?
We have to turn that one, Catalina, into a checklist if we actually think this makes the list. Prioritizing opportunities. Because we did do like a 1, 2, 3, 4 thing here. Like, you know, get rid of the garbage, figure out what you like, do you have the time, and then does it match your time frame versus opportunity?
I think what we're going to do is not air this podcast for another like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I can sell this thing we put together to our people as if I made it up. I'm like, listen, guys, here's what you got to do, all right? When you're prioritizing, and they're going to be like, you're so smart.
Back to the trusting friends thing. Landon has been undercutting my ideas for years. I had this, like, every time I run, like, here's how you be better with your money. All of the guys that are in the meeting, all their phones start blowing up in the middle of the meeting because Landon's pinging financial advisors so that he can get a referral fee from them. And I'm the one running the meeting. I gave him this great contact, and then Landon's just sitting there like texting people, saying, "Hey, I got a guy that can do what." I could have gotten that referral fee.
So this isn't just a one-time thing. This has happened many times. So Tim was gracious enough to tell me about an app that he's been using to invest, and I immediately went and pitched everybody I'm getting on board. And so far, I've made a whopping $20 in referral fees that Tim probably earned and should have had, but.
And I don't think I have any.
No, you don't.
I want my rip of that $20.
I went through the whole.
I'll send you an invoice for at least
17.
Yes. Okay. 17.
I mean,
does Venmo work right now? Let me see if I can.
Yeah, that's probably reasonable.
Let me cash app you $17.
Yeah. Right. I hope you do
for this blatant fraud that's been committed.
I know, and now it's on the air. So I actually went through this.
You're gonna be like the next who's that rapper dude that's like going to jail for 50 years?
6ix9ine.
Yeah, you're the next 6ix9ine because you just talked about something you did illegal, stealing my customers.
I might get hit.
And now you're gonna have to pay for it for 47 years because you just sold yourself out. Because this is nationally broadcast.
I know this is over the airwaves. To quote Philadelphia's own Meek Mill, I might just get hit with the RICO.
There you go.
I went through this.
That would make your podcast numbers jump, Catalina. Sure. We need controversy here.
Vice President.
Square up. We need something big.
Vice President of local marketing firm GraySquare admits to
17 felonies on air, knocking off 6 people. The SEC is now involved, and you get the SEC, and then all of a sudden you got 75,000 podcast followers.
So here's the short clip that here's the short clip that we use for the promo. So it's like no, and that's where I ended up hiding the bodies. Anyways. And they're like, tune in this week to find out. And that's where I hid the bodies. Still Law and Order music. Oh, so awesome. The last thing I want to ask you about this. So I went through. I don't know how Jay and I got on this topic of Stash App, but I went through my little things that I have. Do you have any crazy winners right now on this thing? Because I'll tell you right now, on this little group,
I got my water one. That's.
I'm up like 8% on the water thing.
That's
corporate cannabis.
I got that too.
I'm up 23.76% on corporate cannabis.
I'm rolling at 11.61. I've been in corporate cannabis for a while.
Or maybe I got it at a better time, I guess.
So yeah, my big winner other than water is
Which one?
Well, here's my top three. My top three
I'm legit writing this down because I have $20 in here to put where I will.
I'm in Nike right now, and that's worked out well for me. Nike, the shoe company. Obviously, for me, that one's an easy. It seems like a win, but they're
a passionate customer.
I'm a passionate customer, and they do really well with getting repeat business. I'm not the only weirdo out there that has 400 pairs of shoes, and this is only getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm in Nike, and I'm up year to date 10.5% just in the first month.
Let me tell you about repeat customers. This was one of my favorite Super Bowl ads. To go back to this, so this was killer. You know how Coca-Cola did they put the names on the bottles and they said you share with a friend. So you get you go and see Landon and you grab that one. Then you see Tim. I got to get the Tim one. So I'm like, dude, I found your name on the thing, right?
No, but you got to buy 3 because you got to keep one Landon can.
Oh yeah, right.
As a souvenir,
right? So here's what
you'll never find a Landon can, right? By the way, no one has Landon cans.
You're never gonna find them anywhere. So I was working for Mars when they kind of took this idea with the flavor vote, buy one of all 4 of them or whatever, right? Yeah. So Pringles recently did this during the Super Bowl, and I thought it was killer. So they, how they have a million flavors of chips, right?
Yeah, sure.
Cheddar cheese, jalapeno pizza, whatever, right? So in the commercial, they took 3 different chips and stacked them up. They're if you put this one and this one and this one.
Oh yeah, the flavor combination.
That's the cheeseburger thing or whatever. It's man, now I got to buy 3 cans and I only wanted 1.
That's a good idea.
Unbelievable. Good idea. That's another one for repeat business. But what are your other winners?
Corporate cannabis.
Yeah.
I'm not a pothead, but I'll make money off the potheads.
Right.
And in water.
Yeah.
I'm in 12 water companies.
God, that's unbelievable.
My big loser right now, I'm sticking behind it.
Sure.
Is I'm in this gamers thing.
Wait, I'm up 11.69% on that one.
I've lost a lot. I bought at a horrible time. But I don't know. For me, my overall investment strategy is if it makes sense, it makes sense. I think Warren Buffett, that's how he kind of did things. To me, the kids sit around and play video games 24/7, and it keeps getting older. Who's playing video games? Fortnite made $2.2 billion and eclipsed Madden as the biggest franchise of any video game ever. I think the social gaming thing, with the premium spend $1 400 times as opposed to buy a game for $50 type of deal.
Right.
So I got that one makes sense to me, and so far it hasn't worked out in my favor. But I'm still in. Now's the time to keep. In my head, I'm very bullish on it, so I'm buying as it goes lower and lower.
I just went in for $10 on it. So by the way, I know, right?
We're really high rolling here.
We're really high rolling here. So I keep looking at this and I forget. I buy these things I try to buy a bunch of them, these little portfolios or whatever, or little groups, funds, whatever you want to call it. And I go in for like really small amounts just because I think it's entertaining and I just want to see what's going on.
Yeah, sure.
And so I've been looking at this gamers and I'm like, man, I'm up like 10%, blah, blah, blah. And I just haven't paid attention to how much I had in there. I had $5 in there. So I'm winning by 58 cents is my,
that's awesome.
Has been my return.
Yeah, I'm
probably going to cash out while I'm ahead.
I struck out, and I honestly, I don't even know why. I don't know if EA and some of the big Blizzard and some of those guys had like a bad year, bad quarter, whatever. But I kind of got shellacked on that one. But yeah, the water thing. But like I said, just like back to your point about the prioritizing thing.
Sure.
You know, I think to me, something like the medical marijuana industry and all that stuff is. Obviously, it's highly risky. You don't know what you don't know what in the world's going to happen. You know, like still on paper, it's completely illegal. But for me, I'm like, okay, I can throw money into this. I can pursue it.
Sure.
And if it strikes out, I'm still young enough to go back and get the money again.
Right. And
I think it's the same thing with the prioritizing opportunities. Like if you strike out or if you hit a home run, do you have time to hit the home run?
Sure.
You know, do you have time? Do you have the lifespan to pursue it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I will live long enough to see water go dry, and that when the zombie apocalypse hits,
you're gonna be.
I'll have all the water.
Right.
And I'll have to sell it to all of you guys. So all the starving people, they're gonna need that Tim water.
I'm so in. Like you pitch me on this for like 30 seconds. I'm like, yeah, I believe in this.
Every time I go anywhere, I see it. Like I was at a lake and the lake was down like 11 feet, 11 full feet. It was down since 2005.
Right.
And I'm like,
there it is.
That seems like a lot.
Yeah.
11 feet of a giant lake is a lot of water.
Right.
And same thing. How do you control it? Population decline.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened in 100 years now.
Right.
Like we keep. I think I'm betting on more people.
Right.
I'm betting on, and then zombie apocalypse.
So
when we run out of water, then we all start killing each other.
Right.
And then, well, no, before we start killing each other, this is my strategy. Landon.
Sure. The water.
All right. So we run out of water.
Right.
Everyone's desperate, and they give me all of their stuff to buy the Tim water.
Right.
Then we go into the zombie apocalypse. Because after they run out of money to give to me, they start killing each other. Yeah. So that's the strategy. It's very bleak.
I really think you should.
My conspiracy theory is just through the roof on the water thing.
The things I really am a firm believer in. The things that you invest in, you should really like be confident in, be a good customer. Like if you're investing in Nike, you should go buy Nikes. It's something you believe in, you want it to grow. What I've been doing with this water thing is I've been purchasing fresh water and just dumping it out.
Yeah, same thing.
Dumping out fresh water.
If I go, every time I go
decrease supply.
Like when I go to the airport, I turn all the sinks on and just let them run. Mm-hmm. No, I don't really do that.
Yeah,
we're gonna lose our viewers here.
Wait a minute, you went too far.
You're destroying the planet. Do you not believe in global warming? Or are you trying to perpetuate it? I'm trying to perpetuate it because I got water stocks.
I have 9 diesel trucks out there just running.
Yeah, I have Hummers with superchargers just hanging out, just polluting away.
I took a family inheritance and bought like a big tank of oil.
I was gonna say I invested money into Exxon to pollute the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, I think that's the message that we should get out to people. Like, listen, if you want to make money off of stuff like
what is GraySquare all about?
You got to ruin
polluting the environment to get water dollars. So that's where we're headed. You want to know about prioritizing opportunities? Just blatantly pollute the atmosphere so you can get water dollars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does this have to get edited out, or are we allowed to leave this in, or do people buy the sarcasm?
If people are listening, I don't know.
Or I think it's a good podcast if people don't know whether it's sarcasm or not.
I think so.
Because then the next podcast can literally be like, okay, were they really that screwed up?
Are we prepared for like the BuzzFeed article of these 2 idiots running this company are literally dumping out fresh water and plastic Coke can ring strangling, seals or whatever.
They say no press is bad press. That may be. That's when you cross the line. You cross the line when you're clubbing baby seals.
But in exchange for some profit.
Exactly. Yeah, when you're trying to summon up the anti-rain gods to cause famine and starvation, at that point, when somebody starts publishing that article, you're like, okay, you guys are going out of business.
Another greedy CEO is in the spotlight this week.
Don't worry, the government will bail us out.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Just print more money.
I'll ask Trump for a presidential pardon. Pass it my way. Because he'll be in on my water stocks.
Dude, if you give him a few points on this water thing, you're absolutely getting a pardon. That's how it works. Money talks.
All right, Landon. Well, I need to go turn some faucets on.
All right, yeah. This has been awesome. Yeah, we can kind of call it here. So, Tim, I really appreciate you pulling this off.
Yeah, I appreciate it. This is awesome.
I know it's hard to get in the same
room. Had a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do it again sometime. Cool. If you hung out this long after our awesome real things that we're definitely going to do out there in the world.
Square up with the baby seal.
That's the graphic we got to make. Clubbing it. Oh, my God. Catalina's in the room with us, our expert social media and graphic designer. And she's going to make this Tim bashing a seal. And he's got like the club in one hand,
to NASDAQ,
and then like $1 in the other hand. All right. Well, this has been another awesome episode of Square Up with GraySquare. Thanks for hanging out, people.